Welcome back to Uprising. I'm Sonali Kolhatkar. Time magazine's cover story this week displayed the slogan Black Lives Matter in bold white letters on a black background. It was accompanied by images of the white South Carolina police officer Michael Slager pointing his gun at a fleeing black man named Walter Scott, whom he shot in the back in cold blood. It is as though mainstream America has finally woken up to the reality of black lives in America and the criminal behavior demonstrated by law enforcement. Video evidence captured on ubiquitous cell phones seem to have finally confirmed what black people had been saying about police brutality for years, but which political and media elites and the public at large refuse to believe. But the public has also ignored another issue, one which is hard to capture on video, and that is how the epidemic of economic injustice in the black community is also part of the story. African Americans have been hit the hardest by the recession, and unemployment remains far too high. Today, we continue our ongoing coverage of the Black Lives Matter movement and connect it to the all-important issue of employment and economic justice. Joining me in studio are two guests. Melina Abdullah is a professor and chair of the Department of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA and organizer with Black Lives Matter LA. And Loretta Stevens, co-executive director of the Los Angeles Black Worker Center, a project of the UCLA Labor Center. I'd like to welcome both of you to the program.
Thank you for having me, Samantha.
Thanks so much for joining us. So much to talk about. First, let's talk some specifics and then get into generalities and connections between these issues. I want to play an excerpt of the video that was recorded by this young man named Faden Santana of the shooting of Walter Scott by Michael Slager. I want to warn our TV audience here, and this is a point of discussion as well about the sort of desensitization from viewing these videos. And so for our TV audience, if you do not want to watch this video, please turn away or turn off your TV screen for a few seconds. And for our radio audience, you will hear a number of shots. And that is a very brief excerpt of the video captured by Faden Santana of the shooting of Walter Scott. Melina Abdullah, we're being told that this issue, this incident, is different. Time magazine saying this one is different because it was captured on video, so we knew what happened. We knew this cop planted the taser, told a completely different story than what actually happened. But is it really different?
No, it's not very different. I think that the response is a bit different. The immediate firing and charging of the officer who killed Walter Scott is a bit different. But having it on video is not different. We know that Tamir Rice and Eric Garner and even if we go as far back as 2009, the murder of Oscar Grant was on video. And so that hasn't led to the prosecution of officers in the way that needs to happen. It hasn't led to the policy changes that we need to have happen, and it hasn't led to the disruption of the system that systematically targets and kills black people. So if we think about what happened to Walter Scott, just the behavior of that officer, who the media, mass media, has tried to humanize. I mean, I'm very
heard video of his mother.
Right, and it's disgusting, and it's well thought out how they're doing it. He had a little baby on the way, and you know, he's a good person. The way that mass media is doing that is part of this overall system that elevates the lives of white folks, right? Even murderous white folks, and really kind of devalues the lives of black people who were, in this video, it was clear he was hunted as if he were an animal, right?
Loretta, the media has also brought up the fact that Walter Scott owed $80,000 plus in child support that he hadn't paid, and he was worried about being arrested because there was a warrant out for him, and that's why he ran. And of course, he is not here to defend himself, but that's the story that's being told about the victim in this case. And how do you respond to that?
Well, I think the issue of child support is a challenge for black men. I was looking, and the marriage rate for black people was greater than white people, like from the 1890s to the 1960s. Then it changed. Mass incarceration numbers went up, and penalties start getting placed on black people when you can't make a decent living, how are you supposed to be able to take care of your children? So what I've seen happen is the institutionalization of these outrageous fees that's over your head, that even if you get a job, that how much of your check is taken and given back to the state. So I do think there's issues like that warrants Ferguson, all the failures to appear, the excessive tickets. I think that Ferguson report shows a lot of those kind of penalties that black people are subjected to at a high level.